Alright, so we are ready to get started here. Trade route will be starting any second. Alright, we need to test and see. Alright, we have stayed connected. We're going to call this a good. Alright, we cleaned our gun. Let's do this. That's what we're about to do over there. Make sure that's clean. We're going to start here in 2 minutes.
You know, I was just thinking, it's been years now since I slept with 4 walls around me.
What else do we need to do? We got a couple minutes, get her done.
But I've never been happier.
So we got a couple of minutes before we're starting out. What else do we need to do? We are going to, maybe we should make sure we got everything turned in from our horse before we leave this. Where are you at, pony? Wonder if we need to trade horses. We've been having troubles calling in the wagons and subsequently calling in the horses as well, so here we go. There. Alright, so we are going to check out and see if this is working. This is live. So we'll just test our bots. See if they are responding. Which horse do we need to call? Let's call Gremlin. See if that fixes it up. Alright, we've got sound. Check out and see if this is working. This is live. So we'll just test our... There we go. Alright, so now all we have to do is wait for the trade route to start and we are good to go. And I better make sure. I've got to take a picture, so let's get on to the picture. Alright. Here we go. We are ready to start. So I gotta make sure and take some pictures when I get in here. Put the gun away. Welcome, welcome. We're gonna do the trade route here. So yeah, if you haven't been watching, yeah, there's lots of pay happening for the trade, anything to do with the trader role. Even the perfect carcasses are about a third, 30% paying out more, whether you're turning them into crypts or whether you're selling them. It's just, they've really done something. I'm really pretty impressed. It really looks like Rockstar is paying some attention, and I am so hopeful. Do not quote me and do not assume that I know, but I have a feeling that we might get a Halloween pass. They are talking about it looks a lot like we're going to get something. I mean, nothing's been said, don't get me wrong. I have heard absolutely nothing. So I'm going to go over to this end. Oh, he just disappeared. He literally just disappeared. That was weird. That was odd as all get out. Alright. So I'm going to take some pictures really quick here before we get too far. There we go. Take pictures. Otherwise you're going to get knocked down. And we'll get ready. So she's paying 0.25 today, so we're on it. Alright, here we go. She's on. So my stream is still going good. I'm really good about this. Yeah, I had to switch my microphone. I can't put it in game when I'm doing something like this. It doesn't work very good. So where are you at, buddy? I know I see you there. Good group here. Okay. I always like it when we've got a good group and there's just none of the nonsense. I like it when kids have fun. I really do. I just don't like when they have fun in the game that I play. Okay, come on. I can get him there. It's just a little bit better range. Anybody moving the wagon? That's what we gotta wonder. Well, almost everything is just moving the damn wagon. Where is everybody? Is anyone moving this wagon off the tracks? Clear the wagon, for God's sake, somebody out there. Like, we get a whole bunch on the front end, and they're all so concerned with winning that they don't always think about moving the wagon. It's sad. Get us. Sorry. Alright, we're going to keep an eye on that one up there. Because they come back. But we've already lost one because people are too busy trying to get high points in shooting instead of actually putting anything away. And that's the truth. People can think I'm being cranky, but that's just the truth. And then they get mad because we've lost one, and I think that's when they start to make sense. But I don't know. I don't know what makes people behave so like stupid. Because I guess you gotta be stupid to understand stupid, maybe? I don't know. Still get him. That guy. Somebody else did. Okay. Yeah, when they start roping and that's like 10-year-old mentality. And when people say, oh yeah, I saw an adult do it. No, it still is 10-year-old mentality. It just means that the adult has a 10-year-old mentality. No one appreciates it. No one benefits from it except for some little 10-year-old, mentally 10-year-old jackass. That's it. I really should be healthing up here. Let's do it. For me, I don't care who gets the shots as long as we keep, our goods. That's what it's about, right? That's what we're in here for, is to get the goods. If everybody's in here to get the goods, then what is the idiot who's roping people in here for? Right? What could the idiot who's roping and dynamiting people be in here for other than stupidity? Either they don't know how the game's supposed to be played, or they're all about themselves. And because they're not a good player, let's see, we're gonna keep losing these because we got some freaking moron up there. Yeah. Morons, I tell ya. See the guy who was on the back here with me? Showed up afterwards. There's two of them there. There isn't a single good reason for those idiots to be there. I'm up here covering it. The front end didn't get the wagon moved. We're getting all the attacks on the front end. You see this fuckhole? Seriously, like, was that anything they benefited from? Did anybody benefit from that? Not at all. Not at all, right? Just total fucking jerks, right? Just jerks. And they're the ones who are blowing everything up. That's why we're losing, and we only have 5 because of morons like that. Let's take a look so we can see which morons they actually were, because I can see where they're placed on here, so I'll be able to tell. Alright, which one of you little ass fucks is doing this? So let's see. Which one did it? shit and I will fucking blow you to kingdom come. Do any more of that stupid shit, huh? And now we know that they might actually be cheating because none of them died. So when you don't die, right? I blew them up pretty good. See, they're blowing up there too. So he just ran up ahead and blew them up there. So that's what's going on. Right? Total little morons. It's not the way the game is supposed to be played, but hopefully they decided that if I'm gonna actually dynamite them, they won't keep messing with me, but that's not usually the case. Usually they get little twisted panties and run after you. I can't wait, I'll make sure none of you can either. Because I'm a big player, I'm important. No, you're a jackass, you're doing it for everybody. You kind of could actually get impressed with people's ability to be stupid. Hard, take off as fast as he could, running to the front. So they're cowards, right? They don't want to actually take you on. They just want to use something to disrupt the game because they can't play very well regularly, right? Because if they could play regularly, they play the game. There's lots of options, lots of opportunities, but they don't want to. They don't want to learn because they don't have the capacity. It's just the way things are, right? People who are disruptive are most likely, almost always, people who can't have power anyplace else, so they get it playing a game. It's sad, actually. See what is happening? It's because of them. And it's not because they're talented, it's because they're stupid and they kill all the people who are defending, instead of actually doing the job. There's nothing to be said about it. I can't understand the mentality because to understand stupid, you have to be stupid. And you don't need to have people around who are disruptive. Alright, who's that? Come on. See, right? But we got almost nothing left because of jerks like the one that was back there blowing people up. They're just, there's no good word for them, they're just pure assholes. This is what I wanted to catch on here, is to show how disruptive and how fucking ignorant they are. Because they benefit not one little bit, hey sugar bear, but they ruin it for everybody else. Because, do you know what I think it is? I actually think that there's a lot of people who are Chinese and Russian who are playing, and they know that the West is playing this game and loving it. So I actually think it's them who's coming in and doing this. So, like, it's sort of like, nobody could even believe that Trump would destroy, they would think no one would destroy their own country. Yes, they would. There's a lot of people that are so stupid and so power hungry that they'll go after the power that they can get. And that's why don't ever underestimate greed. And I don't think that this is anything about the game. I think it's purely about people. Furface, what are you doing up there? This could be political. I think that could be people. We also know that they're taking over the networks too. They did say the next war would not be fought on the ground, it would be fought in technology, and that's what I think they're doing, is attacking this. We've all seen the modders in the PC version. China was giving the game away for free, the mods, to people so that they could get, so that they could have more people attacking. And this is things that I've only heard people saying, because of course China's not going to come out and saying they're being disruptive. Just like Russia, when you listen to them, they keep talking about how it's Ukraine who's doing all this. Yeah, Ukraine is destroying their food supply. You know, Sugar Bear, you're a naughty little cat. Stop doing naughty things. So yeah, look close when you see this stuff happening. Look really close, because wars happening right now are going to be happening everywhere, and you know, there's going to be more than just a few of these sorts of things happening. Games disrupted, power disrupted, anything you can get, anything that can disrupt and upset people, because it's not a war. It's not a war anymore in sending people to die. It's in causing such unhappiness, such disruption. See, I mean, we'll have 14 goods here at the end, and only because someone playing the game disrupted it. So pay attention to your own politics, and watch this happening in your own politics. When you think that the negative things that are being said against the current politicians, if you really believe that it's that, don't. The people who are trying to disrupt the politics right now are people who are fascists, who are trying to make you hate and scared of the order, so you'll go to being protected by these sorts of bullies. Like that crap, right? That's the crap hole that's doing it right there. You're the dick that's doing it. We got 0.64 though, so we get paid whether you're a jerk or not, you know? He tried to ruin it, but, you know. So pay attention. Pay attention to what's happening around you, because this sort of stuff, it's not just here, it's not just in the game, it's in your politics, it's in everything. And I don't care if I lose every viewer on the face of the earth. I just don't care. I'm going to say my truth. I'm going to say the things I believe. And you're going to see about 95% of the people playing this game are conservative, and they're following the, you know, I'm not in the US, but they're following the Republican lying bullshit. It's much more complicated than you think. It's not just about local politics. This is fascists trying to take over. Oh, people just aren't watching the news. I wish they were. I wish they could see what was going on and see it all. But we've got the stream running again, and I'm going to use this as my place to say, anybody who's watching this game, who's tired of the bullying, who's tired of the bullshit, come hang out with us. We'll make sure that we get protection for people who are, quote, snowflakes. I'll make sure that you have a safe place to go, because we'll create our own lobbies. I don't care. I'm just not going to sit back anymore and put up with the Republican nonsense where they tell us, don't be like this, don't be like that. Yes, be like this, be like that. Alright, so we're going to have to get out of here, because I got a funny feeling that two of those are actually from the train, and someone was destroying it, so they're going to destroy a stream too if they can. So anyway, our stream is working. It hasn't been disrupted, so I'm going to be happy. I was very sad to hear the news that the Queen died, but, you know, she had a long, long life. A really long life with the best medical care. I don't really care, you know. I'm more concerned, you know, when you lose someone that you really care about that's in family. That's I'm not nationalistic. I guess that's what it is. I'm pro decent people. I'm pro kindness. I'm pro doing the right thing. I'm pro cooperation, you know, but I am not pro bullying in any sense. Whether you use the legal system, whether you use politics, anybody who's calling other people names is bullying. And that's why I don't even like seeing the retaliation from politicians. To me, it's like, once you got to sink to their level, it's sad. But yeah, when people are disrupting a trade route like that, I'm going to call them for what they are. They're assholes. They're first-class pricks, and there's no other word to use for it. They're not benefiting. They are getting nothing, but they're getting incredible enjoyment out of other people's pain and suffering. That's a psychosis. That's not a good player. That's a mental health problem. So I just wish that we all could have reported him. I was too busy trying to make sure that we at least saved some of them. So, but I do hope somebody reported them, and I did try to blow them up, but you know, you can't do anything about it. You shouldn't have to be fighting your own people to succeed. That's how the whole world seems right now, doesn't it? Like people are fighting their own people just for what? What is Trump winning? Well, we know what Trump's winning. They've pilfered, like, Bannon's going to go to jail because they took millions, and then when they tried to prosecute him, Trump gave him clemency. Like, what? What the hell? Like, what kind of leadership is that? And I just hope they get Bannon. I hope they get every one of the little weasels, and that, fascism gets slowed down a little bit, but I don't think it's going to. I think that we're going to have a lot more problems before it gets better. Let's call in our vehicle and see where we're at here. Good morning, Silas. Oh, we had quite the trade route. I kind of expected it because, I don't know. It's been going like that for the last little while. It's kind of a crapshoot what you'll get. But yeah, I have some goods over on the PC, so I'm looking forward to doing a run with you. How's your morning? Whenever I'm in a bad mood, this is my post. It's like sometimes you're the dog, sometimes you're the fire hydrant. We got some goods paid to us, so I can't complain. It was really good gold payout. It was like 0.64. So worth doing the trade route. And we're up to half filled already, so I'm going to call that good. So we're just going to order these, and then we'll bring our wagon and see if we can fill up the rest. Yeah, I had nothing but problems with my internet. I could not figure out what it was. I even went and started a whole new using Streamlabs, changed everything around because I thought it was something wrong with my system. So I think we got her figured out. I hope everybody's having fun with their Let's see. There's where we're going. So I have to tell the truth. If this stream is fixed, then I have to give credit to Sugar Bear for being the one who was disconnecting me, because he kind of likes to climb on things and do things that he shouldn't. So I think what he did was disconnected, didn't completely disconnect it, but just loosened the plug enough with some of the things that he was doing, trying to get up onto things. So it makes me laugh because Streamlabs has this RPG thing when it's loading up that says RPG is loading the blame processor. It makes me think of that. Sugar Bear, it's all your fault. He's like, what? I did nothing. I'm a good cat. I did nothing. It's not me. I didn't do it. What are you talking about? It was those little green gremlins that you got there. Hey, Sugar Bear? A little rat fink. Oh, he's so fun. Ooh, you got a gelato machine. That's yummy. That's actually pretty interesting. I would love to try doing that. See, even right now, Sugar Bear is rubbing on the light stand that is supposed to be providing light. And I'm like, get lost, you little jerk. I'm going to make Yoda get you. Yoda, get him.
The suspense
No,
is killing me.
seriously, get him. He does not know what to make of them.
Come on, I'm a busy man.
All right, let's put
We're well
that
stocked for the time being.
those in there. Oh, I'm so glad to have that figured out.
Okay,
I was
then. No comment.
trying to figure out what had changed. Nothing had changed. Hello, Mr. Yoda. We figured out what was causing the problems with the stream. It was our favorite little Sugar Bear. He had knocked a couple of wires loose, but they weren't disconnected. So just on looking surface, they were fine. But once you got close, you could see that he had managed to do it. Yeah, don't look around like you're so innocent. We know you are not innocent. We know you're not innocent. Blame the cat. Of course, we have to blame the cat. He just says, I'm not going to let anybody see the Yodas. I'm going to make myself big and cover so nobody can see them. Oh, that was funny. So at least we figured out we can use Streamlabs. Because I tried everything. I uninstalled, I reinstalled, I changed the network connections. I did everything I could think of. So finally we went and looked at where Sugar Bear was sitting, and sure enough, oh, we got our wisteria. Woohoo! So what flavors of gelato are you making, Silas? Thanks for the donut. I appreciate it. Oh, man. He was so naughty. So what I want to see is what I'm going to get for that perfect deer compared to what they are normally. So they're paying about 30% more on these, so that's kind of cool. I appreciate the donut. In fact, I might need to add some coffee with it. All I have to snack on here right now is an orange. Oops. Alright, so let's take a look and see what the heck just happened there. Did you guys just see that? There's two wagons here. This is bizarre. So somebody else's camp just got moved right beside mine. That's interesting. I gotta go take a look at that. But first I wanted to see what they're going to pay
Supplies
for
are
that
looking healthy right
perfect
now.
deer. Is 13.13. He's usually like 8.94 or something like that. So yeah,
This
that's
is good quality.
And keep all your animals perfect if you can. That's why, like I say, it sounds ridiculous, but go rope a deer and stab it if it's perfect. If you're worried about like particularly new players, it's really hard. Those carbine repeaters are such garbage. But I guess for them, they're not really worrying so much about the trade route. They might not be in there yet. I'm trying to remember when I got my first bolt action. I know, that's what I was saying. I'm thinking about Bavarian cream too. Oh man. Oh, now you've got me. Now you've got me. I'm thinking about a vanilla slice with Bavarian and whipped cream. Oh, don't let my brain go there. Now I'm on donuts. I think that what I would really like is a pina colada gelato. Like, do you have to go buy all the? See what he's doing there? See, I think you can see Sugar Bear. Let's move the camera. Oh, you can't. As soon as he saw me move, he was like, no, Sugar Bear, don't do that. Don't do that. I know. I was just thinking the same thing. So I'm thinking maybe I have to. I can't even have an intermission yet.
choosy.
Like I haven't been streaming long enough to. Oh, you know what? I've been on for 30 minutes. Let's call it time for intermission to make coffee. Here we go. All right. I will be right back. It is time for some coffee. There we go. Is all good. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. We have coffee. We have coffee. We have no donuts, but we have coffee. All right, here we go. Back into the screen. And the sugar bear. Yeah, the little culprit. This is the guy who did it. This is the guy sitting there all proud of himself. Yeah, I see you. I see you. Bavarian cream chocolate iced donuts with coffee. Now you've got me so sad. With Mr. Yoda posting pictures of donuts. I've got some Highlander grog coffee going on. That's all I can say. Alright, so we're getting close. We're getting close to a delivery. We are getting close.
In your own time.
Thanks. Thanks, Tips. That's what I'm going to call them now. It's not Crips, it's Tips.
I don't want to rush you, but...
Here we go. Yeah, so I have goods ready on the PC too. I should, well, these are cooking. I should see if you are connected there. Let's see. Let's see. Now that I'm not freaking out about what's going on with the internet, I was like, oh my goodness, am I going to have to get in touch with the cable company? Like, what? What am I going to do? Alright, so let's load up and see how this goes. Because everything had been fine. We hadn't had a problem, not even a hiccup of a problem. And then all of a sudden, bam! So we are loading up our PC, and we're going to see if that was the other problem. As soon as I tried to run the two things, I just couldn't. Yeah, oh, probably it still won't. It's still exiting. Alright, I guess I can't do both at the same time. It's trying now. Here we go. If I can run these both and the stream, then I'm going to call her good. And she's downloading too. So we're going to try downloading Skyrim. That's where we're at. So let's see. Over to camp we go. Oh, I'm going to be thinking of gelato all day now, Silas. I was just talking with the hubby, and we were saying, you know, you don't when you start these sorts of groups, you do not need to think about it going big ever, because if it will happen very homogeneously, and if it doesn't, then it's just, you know, it's just meant to be a coffee club. And then if one day you have like 10 people join, that's great. But if it doesn't, we enjoy our own company. I'm really working towards keeping sort of like-minded people, because the world's too divided out there right now. You need to find people who have sort of similar thinking. Yeah, that's what I'm doing too. I'm about to do a run here, so... Did I tell you about how to get a solo lobby here in the PC so you can do your run? Or do you always run it in with the group? That was the thing I was going to try and do is... Oh, sneeze coming. Alright, 3 times is lucky, right? Okay, so I was going to check and see, make sure we're done. I think might have been, no, we're done. Unless it halted at 97, but no, it looks like she's done. Alright, so I see that you are in there. Now my question is whether or not you would like to come along for a delivery. Yeah, that's it, right? You know, like a lot of people who are extremely religious in name, but less so in deed, they really forget that we were told that all the commandments could be replaced by a simple, just love each other, you know, just care about each other. It's that simple. So I appreciate that. That's pretty good. So I'm going to try getting my solo lobby, and then I'm going to try seeing if I can invite. So we'll do this. Um, so what I got to do is you go into your task manager, and when you get in your task manager, you'll have a button. It usually opens up to processes, but one of the tags is performance, and you go into open resource manager. So this, you got to do this pretty fast, otherwise it disconnects you. But you go to where your Red Dead, you scroll down or just click on your Red Dead. Okay, so we're gonna right click and you go to suspend process. And you gotta go real fast back in to it without losing the connection. Crap, looks like we might lose the connection here if I'm not faster here. Where are you? There it is. Alright, let's see if we can do this fast enough. And resume process. Here we go. Did we do it fast enough? Alright, then you're in a solo lobby. Okay, so by that we check and we see there are no players. So now I'm going to go to players. I'm going to see if I can invite Silas to it. And if I'm able to invite him, we will have a solo lobby by ourselves. If he's able to join. I'm not sure if you're there. That's what I was saying. All the commandments are summed up by loving one another. If you love someone, you don't steal from them. If you love someone, you don't covet. All the commandments are there because we don't love each other. So then the groups of people, they try and determine just, you know, like who's a better Christian, and then the religions all start to fight against each other, and that's the thing that I can't handle. You know, I believe that something created all of us. I do. I totally believe that. It's too incredible and too complex not to be something. So I'll wait here a little bit and we'll see. I don't know if you got the invite or not, Silas. I know you're building one of yours, but I was just trying to see whether or not I could invite someone to my solo lobby. I guess I could try and see if I'm doing that. Let's go and see if there's others, if she's in. Oh, she's not in. She is not in, and I don't think he will be either. I don't have a lot of people that I added into my PC because there were just so many modders, it was too hard. Yeah, that's the whole thought. I mean, if you can't love people, at least follow the rules, right? I think that's what the commandments are kind of like. If you can't just openly and be caring and loving, then... So I'll wait here a couple minutes, and if I don't see Silas show up, I'm going to assume that he either didn't get the message or that he is busy building up his own, because that's what you just said, is you're building your own. But I will give it a chance to see if you're going to join here. Oh, okay. No worries. I'll go ahead with this then. That's all I wanted to do, though, is just see if you were able to join a solo lobby with me. Oh, a new freezer. What are you going to be putting in your new freezer? Probably full sides. That's what I'd do if I had them. So let's go and put that there. Let's see how... These don't last forever, the solo lobbies, so let's get moving on it. Yeah, when we lived in the prairies, it was important to have a freezer because, I mean, first off, if you were hunting, you could always put a moose in. Let's see, I didn't do this. Let's do that. Let's just make sure we're still in a solo lobby. Yes, we are. All right. Usually it lasts until you get delivered. Yeah, I think it's going to be tough. We were talking about this, and I have a hunch that it's going to be a tough winter. I mean, Europe's going to be suffering. I'm really afraid for Germany. I know Canada just made a deal with them that's going to take effect in a few years with our exporting our hydrogen for. I think we can just duck down. We don't need the bridge. There we go. So yeah, I'm sitting there watching it cook on the other one, but what I'm doing is delivering in the PC. I would have waited, but I do it in the solo lobby so I don't have the stress. I'm not going to deliver anymore in the main. I'm just starting to realize that because of the anxiety that I get, it's not worth it. If I can get into a solo lobby, especially for streaming, I watch other streams and they're having fun and they get the, PvP going and they're just blasting at each other and they're so calm and they seem to really be enjoying it. And it's the opposite for me. Makes me feel sick. Makes me feel sick to my stomach when another person, especially in that trade route, when people just want to kill for no good reason. I get when you're getting bonuses, but Ukraine has it tough, but everyone is sending help to Ukraine, right? The people who aren't getting any help sent to them, who are going to suffer because they can't get their houses heated. I mean, people have brought Ukraine into their homes, and I am 100% a supporter of helping Ukraine. But I would really love it if people could see that all of Europe is going to be suffering. And Germany, particularly Germany and Italy, are in bad situations right now. They don't have, like Canada and the United States, we both have our oil reserves. Europe doesn't have that. They got their oil from even China's getting their oil from Russia. So we're in a big problem. What is India going to do? India has 1 point some billion people. What are they going to do when they can't get anything? Like, things are getting weird. That's all I can say. And yeah, you're smart. The one thing you can do is help out people. One of the things that I'm really seeing and appreciative of is how many like Canadians. There's not a lot of us, but we opened up our hearts and homes and brought people in because the refugees were just unbelievable. That's what I'm scared of. That's what World War II. If you remember what happened with Russia, you know, had these food crises. I mean, their army starved. And they don't have any people, but they're still trying to enlist people. They're taking people out of prison right now. They're letting their prisoners fight wars. They're giving them, not clemency. I don't know what you'd call it, because I think that a life sentence in prison is about equal to a life sentence as a soldier for Russia right now. Things are weird, and with the loss of the monarchy, they're going to be 12 days in turmoil. And good God, I'm not calling that goofy cow the queen. I don't care what anybody says. I'm not calling her a queen. As far as I'm concerned, she's a home wrecker and a cow. All right, horse, we need you up here. We got to go get this. I got a legendary show up. So whenever you have that solo lobby, you end up with the legendary. Oh, goofy thing. Go back there. All right. Here we go. We need to get him. I think it's the mud runner out here. But yeah, Europe's in absolute turmoil right now. I don't know what's going to happen, but I don't think any of it's going to be good. Do not think so. So, mud runner it is. He's fast. Oh man, he's fast. One more shot and we might have it. No, that was not it. There, we got him. All right, throw him on there and then get back to my delivery. And I normally skin them, but this time I'm taking this legendary in to see if I get any more for him if I keep him as a carcass, because perfect carcasses are paying more, so I'm going to test this little theory out. I'm glad Chris can just sit there, hold the fort for me while I run the PC. Yeah, I'm not really positive about the things that are happening. I'm 100% certain that we're going to have a food crisis throughout the world. thankfully, they're saying that we're not looking at people being kept inside this summer. Our Bonnie Henry here, who in our province is running anything to do with she's the health representative for BC, said that it is very unlikely that there will be any more stay at home or mask. Anybody who's working for the government, working with people in that are like support workers, any of those people who are working with people who could be a little bit more, what am I trying to say? Yeah, I'm not ever going to call her anything other than bad words, because she's a home wrecker and she's a cow, and she doesn't get any positive words said about her, and it makes the king look like an idiot. That's all I can say. That's what we're doing. I mean, we went, like I told my husband a little while ago, go and buy some great big bags of rice, because India is going to have serious starvation happening. And he waited, and in a couple weeks, when he went to get the bags of rice, you can't even buy the big 40-pound bags of rice. So he bought lots of small ones, and their price had almost gone up by a full third just for the small bags. So there's going to be a run on food. Get your freezers full. Just prepare as much as you can, because it doesn't even matter if there's a crisis at this point. We all remember the toilet paper, right? We know that if people perceive themselves that there are going to be shortages, there will be hoarding happening. And we do kind of create it by even saying this, but, if I care about people, I'm going to tell them. I'm going to tell them, be prepared. And that's a lot of what I'll be doing in this channel. I've decided I'm not doing what's politically correct anymore, and not talking about things, not talking about what's happening. I'm going to talk about it, because I want the people that I care about to be ready and prepared. And if other people think that I'm crazy, they can go ahead and think whatever they like. I'm going to call things now for what I see them as. If I don't believe that she is material to be wearing a crown, I'm going to say she needs a different crown. I think what do they call it? One of those, I saw somebody do this once, so it's not my own original idea, but they made a crown out of a toilet lid, and that's pretty much the only crown she deserves as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, he knows it, and I don't have anything against him. Like, as far as monarchs go, I think that he's probably going to be one of the best, because he's got some interesting, let me say, Buddhist leanings. So I kind of like that, but I don't trust his own personal choices. However, he was raised. Who could be normal, being raised with the royal spoon in his mouth? Right? But he made an effort. He sits there and he listens to people. I've watched his body language. If you watch him, there is nothing. He doesn't present himself. He's a people's king. She is not anything. Like when I saw him, when I see her standing beside him, I want to just ask what the heck he's thinking. But people don't think when it comes to relationships. So that's about it. She's got the crown of the toilet lid and the gown of toilet paper. That's about it. But and I don't know that Diana would have been a wonderful queen. I don't know that she would have been. Who can tell? Because once a person has suffered, oh, that was unwise. Once a person has suffered anything that has damaged them with their mental health, like we have a woman who everybody was talking about. Oh, she could be she'll be the next prime minister. And the truth of it is, she was so badly attacked by those who are, afraid of powerful women. They did such horrible things that they actually had to start making apologies. Like, that's never happened in the history of our, Canada where you apologized for being mean to a politician. Like, they all think that that's just par for course. But they had gone so far overboard with their attacks on her that they felt it was necessary to make apologies, you know? So as far as I'm concerned, we're not going to get, if they can't even have a female as, like, Canada and the US, they're not ready. They're just not ready. They're babies, right? People keep talking as if, the US is a very young country, and it has never had to be, it's not seasoned. That's all I'm trying to say. Canada and the US are not seasoned, and I would like to think differently, but they haven't experienced enough, so I think they get a little bit full of themselves sometimes. Both of us, not the U.S., not Canada, but both of us. We have the same idea that we could just tell people that you have to do this or that. The world doesn't care what we have to say. They don't care about, our prime minister going and telling people, you ought to be nice. You got to be nice. You can't just say you're a feminist and everybody else is going to. William and Kate will do well. I agree, 100%, Silas. They made a choice. They made a choice, and when you make a choice, so did Queen Elizabeth. She had to make a choice. Her father was not. He had a really bad stutter, and he was not. He didn't want to be in the limelight. He got it because his brother had to abdicate because he was seeing a woman who was, I mean, the funny part about this is the woman that he was involved with was a Nazi sympathizer. So he had to abdicate, right? And that's how the brother who stutters ends up being the king. And the first time you've heard the king's speech, right? And it was so much he stuttered and he just struggled so badly. And so when Queen Elizabeth comes along, she's just a quiet young girl who mostly had worked out in with her horses. So I just sort of love that when she came in, she had to make a choice. She stepped up and she made a choice to be a queen of the people, and the people love her. I think Kate is another one, and I'm really hoping, I would love it if Charles would abdicate and pass on, because I think that otherwise there could be unrest in the streets, and he is already king. Like, that's the sad thing. Immediately he becomes king. There's a ceremony, but it's instant, right? The queen is dead, long live the king, right? It's that fast. On her death, the next one takes over, and it's not like, it's just sad. Okay, let's see. Are we in a solo lobby here still? Now we're in a full lobby right after I finished my delivery. So, bonus! So this, I'm going to test it out. I'll have to find somebody who's on the PC who can help me with that test to see if I can invite somebody in. But that was worth doing. Oh, I'm just so happy now that I have my internet back. I can visit with you guys. My husband runs his own political group, and you start out with one a year and a half ago. He started out with two, I think there was 2 of them decided they were going to do it, and they have 65 people. It's not big, but they have 65 people, so it's just a matter of, if you commit to doing it, and that's why I have so much. Yeah, as a child, she's young when she marries her husband, and he's a philanderer, and the day that she stands up to him and says, look at buddy boy, I'm the queen, I'm the queen. He never had king status. He was Prince Philip, and she showed him right away that he was not going to tell her how things are going to happen, and I was really appreciative of that. She took power, and after that, I mean, look at who has the most female prime ministers. The UK really has a lot of them. So, all right, here we go. We can get back on this and get this built up again. Yeah, I'm going to just keep running these. I used to wait and think I'll wait for people. I'm going to sort of run it as if people are available, then I will run out with them. If they're not, I'm just going to move on. I'm not going to wait around. Everybody's got to do the things that suit them and move forward. That's how That's how everybody stays happy. As soon as people start to compromise, like even in this group, I would never ask anybody here to compromise what they're doing for this group. We all got to do our own thing, and then we're all happy. I don't like cancel culture, but I'm not sure that that's a thing. I truly believe that if a thing is warranted, it can't be canceled, right? It's not possible to cancel something that, I'm not sure how I can put that. If something is good and needs to be there, it will always find a place. I think that when people talk about cancel culture, I think what they're using is, I mean, cancel culture isn't a political side. Cancel culture is, it's sort of like, if I were to say I don't like people who um, would hurt animals. That's not this side or that side of any political issue. Every single individual has their good and their dark side. So I believe that what's really happening doesn't yeah. I like the centrist party idea that was coming up here. I really thought that was great. If they could actually take both sides of the party and work them towards the middle, and if they could take all those people. So if I were to suggest cancel culture, I would say, how about when you're doing a poll of any sort, or you're doing a scientific poll, what you do is you collect the data, but you immediately delete all of the extreme answers. You immediately delete those, because the extreme answers are not a representation of sane people. Anyone who is extremely on any side, it shouldn't be running for politics, shouldn't be involved in the census, because if you're, I even disagree with any extremes. Doesn't matter what side it is. People should be working towards everyone benefiting. So here's a problem. Why are people upset over health care? Other people getting health care? Well, they'll say, we're not. We're just against them spending tax dollars on it. So what I really hear is that instead of saying we trust our government to put fail-safes in place so that our tax dollars won't be misspent, what they're saying is we think the one party or the other party is misspending the tax dollars. It's not true. Both parties are. But what about putting in better watchdogs? We used to have it, don't you? Do you remember the 70s when they came and they said that, you know, a product had something in it and it shouldn't be in there? That company went under. They didn't change their name to something else, and now instead of calling it GMO, they call it, you know, blah blah blah. That wasn't allowed. This little hide the mole game, it wasn't allowed. Like, people, if they didn't tell the truth, they went to jail. But both sides are guilty of having opened up the can of worms of allowing dark money in, right? I want to know who is supporting any government that I might be interested in voting for. If they tell me that, oh, well, this money came from China investment, I'm going to say, whoa, 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 whoa. I don't want money coming from there. So Canada did change here, where if a person was investing in property and it was your second property, you have to pay taxes when you buy it. Not all provinces, but BC here did. And a lot of people lost their minds. They were like, well, how are we supposed to invest now? Wait a second. I'm sorry if you can't invest and make money, and well, the rest of us aren't. I want a middle class back. I want all people to be able to afford a home. I couldn't give a rat's patoot if you're sad because you can't invest more of your money to get a second home so you can make more money. I want everybody to have a home here. So when they put the tax on, if you come to buy a home in BC and you want a nice place in the Okanagan and it's your second home, you're going to pay tax on that. And quit freaking crying about it. Suck it up, princess. And you got money, you can afford to buy it. Shut up. But they cry and they cry because they can't make more money. Well, when did government ever start having anything to do with making money for people? Well, because they took money to support their parties. So here's my deal. Every freaking nickel that is invested into a party is supposed to be accounted for. Who's giving it? Follow the paper trail. Because that's why we have fascism on the rise. People with money can come in and buy whatever party they want, apparently. And that's, to me, get rid of some of the not the tax breaks. Forget the tax breaks. Let's take a look at the business practices. Let's go back to, do you remember, we used to have something called the not I'm trying to remember the name of it. Better Business Bureau. The Better Business Bureau used to be involved with, yeah, follow them, follow the Waltons, follow the banks and who's giving money to the banks, follow the Chinese who just bought out. I mean, I don't know if you're aware, China holds the debt for America. So every time they overspend, China just bought a little bit more of America, and it's too late to close that barn door, because those horses sailed like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, whenever China, and before that it was the Saudis, but the Saudis sold the American debt to China. So now China's people can all be starving and suffering. But what happens the day America defaults and can't pay their loans because their government can't get their act together? As a Canadian, I sit here, Americans obviously, if they're paying attention to it, are worried. But as a Canadian, I go, I am worried, because we hold most of the fresh water in the world, in Canada. And America's already leaned on us a little bit. Niagara Falls, they want to try and say that any power generated by Niagara Falls, any hydropower, has to be given first to America. Well, when you guys had Trump in there, my attitude was, America can go screw themselves. If they're going to put all these sanctions on us and say we're not a good neighbor, don't ask us for our power from our waterfalls, right? Because that's what they did. They insisted that we give it to them. Everybody's at each other's throats. Every country is at each other's throats now. It didn't used to be like this. We had we had Russia, and we had we're back into an arms race. That's where we're at. And there's no, it makes for strange bedfellows. So I look and I watch. We've got America and Canada and most of NATO, but even NATO, India was abstaining from the votes against Russia. China was. And India just now softened and said they voted against Russia doing what they were doing in Ukraine. But that was really dangerous for them, because they get all of they're gonna have nothing to heat, nothing to light their homes, And that's what Russia is doing, is they tried to get a monopoly on all of the oil, which they basically did. They control Europe right now. So Germany is a bit of a wild card. Canada did their best to try and at least promise in the future. But it's terrifying for us right now. And the people who are worried about petty things like, Trump basically bought and put his own Supreme Court judges in, and so Canada should be really worried right now, because with what's going on in Russia, if Russia decided to come up through the top end, America is going to have to protect Canada. Well, we're not so sure if America will until it gets to the border. So, it's made for a lot of really unhappy people. The Christy Freeland, the one that people were so badly abusing, they're talking about putting her into the UN because she speaks like so many different languages, like 7 or 8 languages, Russian being one of them. And she was supposed to be the next, prime minister hopeful, but Canada can't get their act together and allow a woman to have any power. They'll fare well until other countries like China or Russia try to take that, because okay, if we are if Canada provides resources, and as we are for Ukraine, they come after us. We're more vulnerable right now than America is. We have a larger border up on the towards the North Pole, and Russia. It's not ridiculous for Russia to come and attack through there. So Alaska is not very safe. Alaska, I would say, is a sitting duck, to be perfectly honest, because yes, they have a lot of troops up in that area, but Alaska's, got some resources. And if Russia will invade the Ukraine, what's to stop China from joining with Russia and going and taking over Alaska? Well, then how safe are we all, right? I think, I don't think, I haven't given a lot of thought to Mexico, but not just their economy, their politics are so unstable right now, with president after president being overthrown. So South America is also dangerous. Ooh, my Skyrim just finished downloading. I'll be ready to play. So now I'm curious. I want to go and look at Skyrim. I love these conversations too, Silas. I never, if I ever say anything that sounds harsh, it's not because I in any way ever upset with you. I love a good argument. I love when people have the ability to think, to have an argument. Like, to me, they are, but they have a lot of land, or a lot of water, right? Alaska's sitting right out there, and with the climate change going on, Alaska's in big trouble with the changes, like the shifting ice fields, the icebergs that could just come floating through at any given time. I think protecting Alaska could be a little more difficult than, and being armed won't mean anything if they have the ability. Here's my big fear. I'm going to say this out loud. I've never said this on here. China has developed a quantum computer. There is only one really, 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 really good thing that we know a quantum computer can do right now. And that is hack encryption that nothing else can hack. So my big fear is the power grids. Nothing can be done without power. Yeah, but weird stuff's happening up there right now. Like, those straits, they used to freeze over. They're not anymore. Those waters are opening up. And so, yeah, and China has a crappy submarine. Their naval base is not really good, but their air power is phenomenal. And they just developed, they're developing missiles and nuclear power that can do things that could never be done before. So those things make me worry a little bit. And what we know, and then with Trump pulling the crap that he's pulling, I believe he's sold secrets. That's how I see it. I don't think that Trump would stop from doing anything that he's going to benefit financially on. So I'm fairly certain he's probably already sold secrets that has put people in harm's way. So when there's 40 empty files, and they know what was in some of those, and it was information about the readiness, nuclear readiness, I think that it's, America has been, you've been betrayed on the highest level. That's all I can say. And so that scares me. Being an ally with someone who can't keep their top secret, that makes it scary for everybody. I don't doubt that. I not for a second do I doubt that America is on it. But how many fronts can America fight? Like right now, we think we've got Taiwan. We think we have, but if China takes over Taiwan, we have the one spot that we were getting good information and being able to kind of keep an eye on things. If they manage to take Taiwan, I personally think that there's going to be a world war different than any that we've ever seen, because you did hear that the top rabbi just strongly suggested that every Jew should leave Russia, and there was a huge population there. Yeah, I don't doubt for a second that America's ego believes that they're fully ready to take on the whole world. And I think that that's the reason that we're all in danger, is because your top person is selling secrets. He still thinks he's president, and 30% of your population does too. So that's a fact as well. So we can have all sorts of things going on, but if those things are happening, I get your argument. I just don't see the facts behind your argument. Your dad being in the submarine service, that's not a fact that's relevant to the current right now situation. Even if he was in there 10 years ago, 5 years ago, Trump was in. Trump destroyed everything. So you might find out things aren't as hunky-dory as you think. And that's coming from an outsider. What's happening is that America lost a lot of trust when Trump was in there. I'm not attacking America. Don't get me wrong. America's our ally. But and I would disagree. I would say your biggest fault is the dummy you had in right before that, who wasn't actually a dummy, who actually sold secrets. And I think that unfortunately Biden was the only person that everybody trusted. And who else would they have put? Try and think of one single person who could have represented the Democratic Party, that would have brought in all the progressives, that would have brought everybody together. Yeah, and so you know everything about what you knew about. Do you know anything about what Trump himself did when he was in office? Do you know what he did when Flynn was basically under arrest for, he was selling secrets to Russia, basically colluding with Russians? I mean, when you were in the army, if that had happened, what would your fellow officers or fellow military have thought? What would they have thought in the army about those sorts of things? They don't even need the proof. We just have the question. Once the question is out there, the point that I'm trying to make isn't that you're strong. Right? You never tell a guy that he's not strong, because of course he has to flex his muscles. What I'm trying to say is that it's comparable to, he's got a severe flu right now, and he might be really, really strong, but there are 40 files that they don't know where that top secret information is, where it went, who has it, who's seen it. There's no proof that he sold it, but there is 100% proof that they don't know where it is. I'm not sure which proof was proven false. You'd have to be very specific. Because the news that I watch is DW, because it's coming out of Germany. I listen to YON because it's coming out of India. I don't listen to American news pretty much at all anymore, because Fox News is more Fox Entertainment, so you can't really believe everything coming from there. And you can't really listen to CNN, because they are so extreme to hating everybody in the Republican right now that I don't listen to them anymore. But I listen to DW. We are really lagged, so when you're saying what is that, you would have to say what you're actually asking, because I'm not sure what you're asking. What is that? Like, I've said a lot of things. Oh, yeah, okay, well, I could say the same thing to you. I know that DW isn't propaganda. I know exactly what it is. It's the German news. It's the European news. So that's not propaganda. And if you believe it's propaganda, then I guess it's pretty hard to keep having, a discussion about this, because we have to agree at that point to disagree. Because when we say that everything you watch is propaganda, you don't know what I watch. So if you say the news that I watch is propaganda, and you don't know what I watch, or you've never seen it or ever listened to it, then how do you know it's propaganda? I learn everything that I learn from watching news outside of Canada and America, because they don't have to have propaganda. they have their own people who go in and listen who have absolutely nothing to gain. When someone tells me that Trump has been arrested, that's not propaganda. If he was arrested, he will be, if that is in the news, that will be true. And I am, intelligent enough to sift through the propaganda and see what things are being pushed in what direction. That's why I say I like centrist information. Then why would you assume, if I say I watch it all too, and I came to my opinion, why would you assume that I'm watching propaganda? I watch CNN too. I just don't believe a lot of what they say. I watch Fox every once in a while because I want to see what they're saying. And when their opinions change on things, I find it entertaining. I watch all of that stuff when it comes on Wyong. I watch what's going on in China. I've watched the floods that are going on in China. I watch international news. I don't watch American news. I don't even watch Canadian news. I actually consider that everything that is being broadcast, you got to look at where the money's coming from. I don't unplug from them because you don't unplug from anyone. If you listen to intelligence, do you ever hear them say, don't ever listen to stupid people? No, they listen to everyone. The only difference is that you try to use your intelligence to discern what is propaganda, what is real, what is being put out there to make you think a certain way, watch and follow the money. So, it isn't propaganda if you're listening to and filtering and paying attention to the things that where's the money coming from for things. When there's dark money coming into Trump, are you going to tell me that it's all up front? When Bannon goes to jail, are you going to then say, no, that's just propaganda? He's being charged again if he goes to jail. That's going to be real. That's not going to be propaganda. That's going to be real. It will also be real when they're trying to follow Trump and a judge that he appoints makes a ruling that there's no precedent for, where he assigns someone to look over information and doesn't let the FBI go in and look at it. Yes, I look at the profits. Who profited? Trump made billions. Bannon siphoned off out of all the billions that were donated, he siphoned off $1 million. He got charged with it, and then he got clemency from Trump. And now he's being recharged. And it's not double jeopardy because the federal and the state laws have the same laws, but they're not double jeopardy ones. It's, so like I say, I watch all of it. I'm paying attention. I'm not following propaganda. That is what you say to people who are stupid. You say, you're just listening to propaganda. I'm not stupid. I listen to everything because I want to see what other people are being affected by. I need to understand how other people in my family are thinking, because we have a choice. We either have to say it's them against us and become polarized, or we have to say, look, I understand where you're coming from. I need to understand why they're thinking the way they're thinking so that I can say corruption always works on all levels. Power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's a given. However, I don't see Biden as being horribly corrupt. I think that he is in a corrupt machine, and I think he's doing the best he can. I don't think Trump was. Not for a second did I think that. I think that he was a great buffoon who never knew a single thing other than how to file for bankruptcy and use the court systems, legal systems to get. I'm not saying he's stupid, but he was a dishonest, corrupt man. And he bilked people out of money for the university. He did all kinds of horrible things. And everybody has good and everybody has evil in them. That's one thing that I know. And there is no such thing as an uncorruptible person. Because here's the problem. Russians are any of the people who went and visited Russia. When they went and visited Russia, they were endangering themselves, because when you stay in a hotel in Russia,
impatient, ain't you?
they keep politicians in a specific hotel that had prostitutes, had all these things. When the whole intelligence was talking about the whole hookers and people peeing and that sort of stuff. That was all the Russians putting that out there. They had it wasn't in Russia that it happened, but it was like it was. I'm not going to go into the details because it's pretty disgusting. But the issue that a government is so much in control of everything that even the hotels the politicians were staying in had cameras installed in them, and I agree with that. I agree 100%. All the way around, every single politician isn't being held accountable to the same level of accountability that they were 50 years ago. And I think we could both agree that that is what's causing the problems. And it's not just, not. I think China is probably the only ones that don't have that problem, because honestly, if Xi can't deliver in China, he's gone. Like, he'll be so gone, because you got to keep 4 billion people happy, because they pose a significant threat. So you got to keep them happy. And the lockdowns didn't keep them happy, and that's what I was really worried when those lockdowns were going on. I was watching to see what's going to happen. What's going to happen when those people can't get out? Like, that just floored me. They were basically locked inside. I mean, not able to leave their village, basically. They would truck food in. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they got left to their own devices. They had the internet. I talked to some of them who were in the lockdown. Everybody needs to be held accountable. It's not even just politicians. There's accountability. That's why I'm waiting to see. America hangs right now on what they do to Trump. My ability to take America seriously as a democratic country, because most of us here in Canada are starting. America used to say we were commies. Canadians were all commies because we had socialism, but we now believe and are terrified that America is no longer a democracy, that it has become a republic, and that's a dangerous thing. Well, who gave the money to the corporations? It was both the Democrats and the Conservatives, or the Democrats and the Republicans, because they were getting donations. That's why I said dark money has to be followed. You got to figure out where their money came from. And it used to be you had to be accountable, and now you can have all kinds of money floating in there and they don't have to even say where it came from. I mean, that's what Bannon was charged with in the beginning, is how he dealt with the donations for the wall. There was something like, it's in the billions of how much money came in. They siphoned off $1 million for their own private fund. Yeah, and see, for me, the term democracy used to mean anybody who held elections, and fair and honest elections. That's what I thought a democracy was. And I don't believe that America any longer has fair and democratic elections. So I agree, it is no longer a democracy. I do believe that it might have been at a point, but even through the time of slavery, it wasn't a democracy, because it was only a democracy for the white, and I'm going to put it out there, white men. Women didn't get a democracy. They weren't even allowed to vote until when? Right? Women weren't allowed to vote. Indians here got the vote slightly after that, and I should say natives because there aren't Indian. Let's see, I'm going to try and get some more goods in here because we're going to be down, and I got to order some more of these supplies. Got to keep it running. Got to keep it running. Let's donate. Oh, we were going to try to pull that wagon in. We were trying, but we're having a little bit of trouble with getting wagons to come when they're called. Hey, Sugar Bear, how you doing? How you doing, you little rat fink? You disconnected my internet, didn't you? Yes, you did. You're so proud of yourself. Wagons, let's see. Yeah, they're still not being called in. But what I could do, this would work, if I put my camp into, alright, I should be able to do this. Put camp into Great Plains and fast travel to Blackwater. I just might be able to bring my wagon in. Fast travel to Blackwater. I was forgetting about my game. We must not forget about the game. Hey, we got to get goods running. We're getting big bucks. Big bucks for the goods. Yeah, it was. It was a good... nothing makes me think more than other intelligent people who oppose any of the statements that I make, because that makes you go and think them out. And all I can do is respect people who have the same way of thinking. We don't have to have the same views, because why would we? We're in completely different lifestyles, especially when you have, you know, men and women even have a completely different perspective based on our own biological drives. But talking about them sometimes, if you're not disrespectful, then, you know, talking about them, which way was I going? This way. Talking about them helps raise it, and, you know, maybe makes people who the other one viewer might actually listen. But most of the time what I find is as soon as you start talking politics, you pretty much alienate everybody except for the people talking, because the people who don't want to think about it, they don't want to remember or they don't want to look at it. It doesn't. You can't express how you feel. And sometimes when you're in person too, like, you can see the look on another person's face. Like, I would never want to hurt another person with the thoughts that I have. Oh, I didn't look to see. Yeah, we've got to take our hunting wagon and deliver it. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to take it out. Okay, so we got to go back. Exit on vehicle. Yes, that's what we want to do. Yeah, you know, one of the things I remember, the hardest thing for me to actually grasp is there is no one truth. There are an infinite number of truths. And, you know, in fairness, both of us in 6 months could have the same discussion. And if we are truly intelligent people, the discussion will be different. It'll be completely different, because the things that you're, like this, you know, waffling on, maybe, you might be more sure of, and so you'll be more adamant about it. And some of the things that you're really sure of, you might actually be like, wow, that changed. And you have to, if you're really intelligent, you have to change with ever changing. Like, let's say China develops a quantum computer, and let's say they do manage to hack all our systems. All of our discussions are pretty moot. They don't really matter, because if they can take out our power supplies, if they can take out our abilities, like if you're living off the grid, good for you, but you're not the normal person, right? There's a small minority that have learned, even here, to live off the grid. I did just exit on vehicle, didn't I? Now I'm froze. This is so freaking annoying. You can't call the trade. You can't call. So give us the ability to do all this stuff with the trader, and then not let us use our wagons. Jesus. There is. I disagree with you. We will disagree. And I would say it takes a very, very, very evolved person to understand that there is no such thing as truth. There are only things that you've seen that resonate with you. If, okay, try and tell a dog that he should wait till he's a certain age to go and have sex. Okay, now just keep that in mind. Try and tell a dog, if you've ever had a male dog, try and tell it that it can't go have sex with the female in the neighborhood that has not been fixed and he hasn't been fixed. There are certain biological things that a lot of people don't want to accept. And if we have young men anywhere in the world who think that as long as a girl's drunk and passed out, that he can have sex with her. We are in a rape culture. Now, I could say that's a truth. I can call it rape. Now let's go and analyze the dog factor. If a dog is incapable, and it's not neutered, if it's incapable of stopping itself from going and, it gets excited, it humps your leg, it humps everything. If that's a given with humanity too, then we're at the whim of our biological dictates. So truths are way out the window, because you can say a truth and you can have all these rights and wrongs, but a truth is that when a female dog is in heat, a dog will try to have sex with it. If he's neutered, that's different. But that's as close to a truth as I'm willing to say. And even then I have to qualify if this and if that. That means it's not really a truth. The minute you've qualified it, it's not a truth. It means it's determined on certain things, certain factors. So an undeniable truth has no qualifiers. And I have not yet seen any undeniable truths that don't have qualifiers. I think I exist, but I'm not even as sure as Descartes that I do exist. I believe that there is way more likelihood that... Well, look at Elon Musk. I mean, look at him. He says he's going to buy, the company for $44 billion. And then ties the company up with these lawsuits going on. And he'll be in there fighting back and forth. But really, the guy's brilliant. He's got the biggest communication company in the world right now tied up in court. And if he ever does get control of it, just think about that. Never in the history of mankind did any one person have that kind of power. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, when we're talking about power corrupting, nobody had that level of power. Those are the sorts of truths that I believe, is that, things have changed. And the only thing that I know for a truth is that I can't keep track of all the things, all the subterfuge that's going on in all the different areas on such high levels, that I'm ever going to be qualified to make a proper decision about things. So here's the problem. I thought that my government was doing research and making sure that we weren't, eating stuff that would kill us, until I found out that, all the wheat we have now is GMO. I couldn't understand why so many people were sick from gluten. It's not gluten. It's the genetically modified wheat. Rapeseed, but that's what they used to call it, rapeseed. Now they call it canola. It's all GMO. I used to wonder why I got so sick as soon as I would be smelling and going past, those big yellow crops. Our government let them do that because it's in the best interests of a large population to make sure that, bugs couldn't kill the crops. So they put genetics from other animals. They put genetics that didn't belong into it. So now if people are getting sick, how I found out about this was that that's exactly it. I found out that we knew this 20 years ago, because when I worked for the university, I went and talked with one of our biology professors at the university, and he was telling me that the monarch butterflies were dying off. Now, the monarch butterflies don't eat the grain, but the bugs that eat the grain also go to the trees. So they carried they carried pollen from plants that had been sprayed, and that pollen and its DNA being carried to other trees, to the trees that the monarch butterflies were living in. They couldn't figure out why they were dropping dead around all these trees, because the trees hadn't been sprayed with it. They were like miles and miles away, or not miles and miles, but close enough that they knew where it was coming from. And now they've figured out, yes, this is killing us. Those are the things that are the problem. I'm not as worried about the politicians, because I actually think that politicians are just glorified. Yeah, they're gorgeous. And I mean, we're going to lose them because of the poor, you know, not animal husbandry, but the farmers have, the farmers are all about getting the big crops out there. I mean, look at what's going on right now. What is Russia trying to stop? Russia's at NATO in the UN right now trying to change because they covered all the ports. Ukraine can't ship anything out because they took over all those ports that used to ship the grain out. So they came in, stole Ukraine's grain, and now they've covered the port so they can ship it. And now they're fighting with the UN as to how they can deal with those, you know, that because of the sanctions on them. Like, you know, we hope nobody will buy anything from them. But they're burning, you know, gas off, like the stuff that Russia's doing. There's no, I guess the world is as strong as its weakest link right now. And everybody could be all kinds of religious and they can believe God's going to look after this. But sadly, a lot of the Russians are all Christians too. They all believe God's on their side. So I always have this problem with when people go to war and say God's going to look after them. I'm not so sure God is really paying attention to which side you're on. I think that God created all of this, but I don't really know that God's involved in the active day-to-day business, you know. That's the same with me. I you know, was a great supporter of don't mow your lawns, because not just that it wastes the gas to keep your perfect lawn, but every time you mow the lawn, you don't let it go to seed. You don't allow the dandelions to grow. People would go out and deadhead their dandelions. That's what the very first bees are eating in spring, you know? So much of that. There's just so much of that has been lost. And I think that's a bigger issue than the politics, because if people cared about those little things that are the essence of our... They say once the bees are gone, we're done. We're dead. It's just a countdown. I mean, I think we're done long before that. Right now, frankly, if you were to ask me, I give the world about 10 years. And I don't think we're going to annihilate each other. I think that we're going to have problems with, you know, the U.S. is hitting 119 in California. If China turned off the power grid, how long before America would overheat? How long before the riots would destroy America from the inside? So we can talk about the big things, but I'm worried about the quantum computer that China has, because that can do more devastation than an election even, right? And no one's paying any attention to that. That, you know, if they can undo the encryption, and they can get into power plants, you know, they can cause nuclear meltdowns. You can have backups, but if all the power goes out and you can't get access to gas and everything else. I agree, but I don't even think we have an option for that anymore. I really, sorry Silas, I just don't agree that we have an option. A good example isn't going to do it. Too many, when you have 30% of the people willing to when you have 30% of the people willing to support a person who's showing himself to be a criminal, and they're still supporting him and saying he's just being picked on. He's not being picked on. He set up and did every single thing that happens. So yes, I do that as well, but I don't think that that's enough anymore. That was really good. It was a really good idea 20 years ago, but even then we were headed to this. 20 years ago is when we had problems with the decline and GMO products taking over. So I think that the cat's out of the bag. We can't go backwards anymore. I can't get out of this screen, so I'm going to have to close it. That's all I got for an option. It won't let me leave that screen. I probably could have rejoined, but I have this interest in going to look at Skyrim all of a sudden. I just downloaded it, so now I'm like, I gotta see, because I tried doing this in VR, and it just made me so dizzy. I could not cope with like when I moved my head and things swung just a little bit too weird. I couldn't keep my equilibrium very well. Alright, so we're going to go back. Let's see, press any button. Let's see what we've got. Let's get the anniversary upgrade. suppose I should change this now. It's not red dead anymore. I'm going to start the stream over, and I'm going to put in that we're doing. We've got this going on, so I'm coming right back. I hope you're going to be here with me. We can keep on this discussion. I'm enjoying it. So I'm going to end this stream, and then we're